Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the second part of the 2024 budget deliberations for the municipality of South Dundas for January 16th, 2024. I have a motion to open the meeting. Let it resolve that the meeting of January 16th of this assembly be opened at 5:30 p.m. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? Carried. Okay. So we'll pick up where we left off last night. So a couple of decisions to make on municipal grants and donations, but we do have a recap to where we've got to from last night's conversations. So I'll turn it over to Treasurer Stewart at this point, and she can just walk us through the 2024-2023 comparison sheet to where we're at right now.
All right, thank you. Through you, Mayor Broad. So this sheet was presented last night with the original, I guess, new rate or change for 2024. After discussion last night with the various changes that we made with capital, et cetera, our proposed change in tax rate or increase is the 6.67%. So we show it on top, the first section. The original one was 8.95, and with the proposed changes, it's 6.67 for the municipal, 6.67 increase for the municipal rate. And the last section of on this page shows the full effect on the tax rate on the tax bill for the municipality as well as the counties and the Ministry of Education. So, in effect, the change on a tax bill with an assessment of $211,000 will mean $135,026 annually increase on their tax bill, or 4.83%.
Okay, very good. So net change, $135.26, 4.83 is the current position South Dundas residents would look at with a 6.67 increase at our tax level. Comments, questions? Okay, self-explanatory. All right, the second sheet Treasury has provided to us is the levy requirements by department. So this was a way to take a look at, from an operational standpoint, where the biggest variants come from. And you can see where the additional, the top two, obviously, Public Works, Parks and Recreation, which is directly related to service level. Obviously, Roads Department and our Parks and Recreation, that's where the biggest increases come from. And at the bottom end, you can see how some of the departments have come back with savings, and significantly, fire emergency services, bringing back savings, administration and landfill as well. Anything specifically, Treasurer, like to point out on that sheet?
Through you, Mayor Broad. Ultimately, no, that's just a new version, so it shows the changes. I'm not sure if you want to know where, what departments the changes are in effect. We can look up that and tell you what departments, but ultimately, again, it's the 2023 budget versus 2024 with the changes and the new variants. So it's telling you our new levy requirement in total and the variance, the change in the levy requirement.
Questions, comments? Okay, so where we left off last night, we got to our council grants and donations. So we had put in the budget a decrease from $109,000 to $75,000, and we've committed through past councils, which is fantastic, committed to the Dundas Manor and the hospice. So we've allotted $53,000 and budgeted $75,000. So that would leave us $22,000 at this moment in the grants and donation lines, where we have requests for 66,000. Two comments. One is, A, if we change the 75,000 up, then it would affect the tax rate up. If we go down, then obviously our tax rate would go down up the appropriate change. So few ideas to take a look at, how we wanted to, A, think about diving into this more specifically, because this is our budget line for council. We can think about the whole dollar amount and how we disperse the dollar amount, or we could take a look at individually the requests. Now that everybody's had a chance to fully read the requests, or have an opportunity to take a look at the requests, we can look at each individual request and the merit of the request, or we could do a combination thereof, thinking about partials on the request. So I'll leave that up to comments from the council team on how we may want to move forward and take a look at this line, because there's a few ways to take a look at it. Deputy Mayor.
Just a quick question, I just want to recap a little bit from last night. So we, last year, had a surplus in our grants that went to just the bottom line into working reserves, correct? And how much was that again?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, I can't get into the system right now, but I believe the number was in the neighborhood of about 16, 17,000.
It was the difference between 109,000 and 94,000.
But I think that during the year, though,
No, that was the actuals, though. So the actual, we budgeted 106, and the actuals to date were 94.
so what was the number then? What's the
So
difference?
if I,
Because I recall it was like 13. It was more like 13,000, but then there was some council events that we supported through the year that would have reduced that amount as well.
oh, this one,
13,000.
13,000.
13,000 was the delta? Okay.
Okay, so I know it was in working reserve, but essentially we could say, let's take that 13,000 we put in working reserve from surplus last year, we could add back into this year's grants, correct?
Yes,
That
yes,
is
you
an
can.
option? Okay. Which in my opinion, I think we should, because if that money was earmarked last year, we grabbed that money, it was earmarked for items like this. I think that money should, regardless of where it's in the ledgers, I think, in my opinion, we should take that 13 from last year and utilize that towards some of these initiatives. That's an opinion.
So the recommendation is to use $13,000 of reserves to increase the grant donation line.
So then that would take us to 32-ish, 33-ish?
Well, it's 22 plus 13, be 35.
Thank you. Prepared, Mayor Broad.
Councilor Ward?
I just wanted to mention, because today I came across it when I was actually reading some stuff from the counties, and maybe you guys can speak to this on this, that there's tourism grants now that came out from the United Counties, and I think to the tune of $5,000. And I think a lot of these events would qualify for that grant, if I'm not mistaken, as well, right? So perhaps if we don't award them the full amount, they could apply for the remainder in the grant. It's just a suggestion to publicly say that there are other avenues as well for funding,
Yeah, I
not
think-
just us.
I think we owe it to the applicants to let them know of other opportunities, right? So in the responses, whether they're successful or not, partial, full, or not, then we should highlight those opportunities to, at the county level, or any other level around, right, that they may not know about. Yep.
And just another point too, so I was looking at staff suggestions, if that's the page we're still looking at.
Yeah, it's just, so we don't have to go by that, so those are just some ideas from the history of that, but it's really our budget line, so we should work from that, and then, you know, I wanted input, that would be the time we could ask the staff for their input on, you know, maybe historical requests and/or, you know, what they thought, so it's really our decision line, so we should work through our decision line first and then ask for their input second, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was just gonna provide comments, so I was looking at some of the suggestions staff had submitted earlier. And so I was a little bit concerned that we weren't funding anything from Matilda Memorial. But then I just wanted to remind council, because I went back to look at the South Branch application community fund, they could apply for all these projects and they would all receive funding, most likely, because it's the same committee.
Yeah, so one thing about
I
this.
just want to remind council that there's a pot of money there.
The 35, well, whatever's left in the pot, we had a 20,000 a year, right, is for
Yeah.
Matilda, that group
That
itself,
district.
right? So that certainly can help fund
That section.
that
anyway.
section, of
Yeah.
course, yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, we can just go, I mean, there's not many lines on here, so we could just, you know, just hit each line and just briefly say, you know, we can support it. And not make the final decision, but if we think it's a good area we want to fund, we could check that off and then let's see where we get to and then loop back on the total dollar amount, if that works. Okay, so Seaway District High School application for the bursaries. I think we want to continue to do that. Yeah. Historical Society of South Dundas. Potentially, yes.
Sorry, just
Yep.
just before we
Sure.
get too far, before I dive in to ask a question, do you have it readily handy what we donated last year on the individual items? And just if we could ask as we're kind of going through, just to
Yeah,
gauge.
that would be good. Yes, yeah.
Because I know I've got the budget thing here, but I'm not sure we donated.
Yeah, we probably don't have a final printed copy of what we decided.
Correct, sorry, and I should have probably asked that earlier. Okay, so we can, okay.
The drill down detail, but we do have the totals.
No, if we come up to, I would just like if we, for instance, Seaway last year, that was easy, 15, but if we get to, you know, let's say the South Dundas Chamber, bad example because it's 0, but the Canadian Day Committee, well, if they're asking for 3, what did we donate last year? So if an item comes up, if you can kindly let us know, that'd be great.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Brown.
Yeah. Okay, so Historical Society of South Dundas.
So, are we going to recap, or are we going to just do it on our own, Mayor Brown, on the?
Okay.
I know, I don't want to be here all night either, but.
Okay, so how would you like to move forward?
Well, I think we should have an understanding, just like we did last year, of kind of what they're asking for, and then we go from there, if what was last year's donation, if any, and then if we are still willing to support.
So would you like me to read what their request is? Is that,
I just didn't know if somebody had, okay,
well, we have all the,
Mayor Brown, see you.
yeah, see how it goes?
The staff recommendation keeps us within the budget that, without increasing the tax rate, but also leaves some flexibility for council to raise it a little bit or to take some in-year requests that we inevitably will get.
Yeah. Yeah, understood. I just want to make sure that council have an opportunity to look at the lines individually before, you know,
Yeah, the question is if you want to arrive on a number first before you dive in, or you want to dive in and then talk about the number at the end.
Dive in and talk about the numbers. Be my preference.
Okay, so we're at Historical Society of South Dundas. Did they receive any money last year?
They requested money from the 50/50 program last year for the Forward House.
If that's the case, I'm content with the staff recommendation on that line. Excuse me.
So then that's Canada Day Committee. How much did they receive last year?
Oh, I'm sorry, which one?
Canada Day Committee,
Kennedy Committee?
3,000.
Of a requested 3,000?
Yes, last year they requested 3.
I'm okay with that for now. I mean,
Oh,
like you
yeah,
said,
yeah.
just 3,000 doesn't
Okay.
seem to be unreasonable.
Okay, Scarborough Canal, revitalization, Salisbury River.
That went over fairly well last year, did it not? Do you think?
Yeah, no, that was, the event was very well done, and not a, event that takes profits from, or doesn't, they don't have any sales per se. That's the public information sessions, which was good.
I think if we add anything, I wouldn't be opposed to adding anything to their line item there. We can circle back to it after, but
Yeah.
I think that might be somewhere that we could.
If I could ask a question, so
Yep.
the grant last year, we gave them $200, and this year they are asking for an additional 1,000. And I'm not saying that it wasn't a great event, because I attended and I had a great time, I just want to know why, yeah,
Yeah, go ahead, Clerk Coburn.
it doesn't really say.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Broad, and and through you to council. So for this specific event, you can see that they're requesting $1,200, and their in-kind request is insurance, garbage cans, picnic tables. So what we found last year is their insurance costs were quite high to have this event. So our municipal insurance wouldn't respond in the event of a claim arising from these events. So the risk for these event holders is that if they're not insured and a catastrophic weather event happens, somebody gets hurt, or there's property damage, that these event organizers can be held personally liable. So why the request for this one is so high is because they've asked for the funds to cover the cost of insurance. So the policy was about $1,000 for this one event. So that's why the request is $1,200 now to cover the cost of the insurance. You'll see a few insurance requests on this this page, including 2Bs, and I think it's really important to for council and also the public to understand that when the municipality isn't hosting or organizing the event, then these event organizers really have to carry their own policy. So what that means is they would either go through a broker or a local insurance provider to talk about their event and get specific insurance for that. Because what happens is if the municipality is insuring these events that we're not at and that we're not involved in the organization and things like that, and they're not insured, we can be on the hook for, I guess, liability if there was something that happens at the event. And our insurer could deny a claim if, the pressure is coming from the insurance companies that these events have to hold their own insurance. So that's something that we're experiencing in all different municipalities, is that our insurers are are saying, no, we can't insure these events under the municipal policy. They have to get their own event policy. So a lot of these event organizers and Director Jansen as well, we've been trying to educate them this past year, especially when planning these events, that when you're making your request, your donation request, really factor in the cost of what maybe your insurance will be, because it obviously hits the bottom line, but we're just in that type of situation where we can't insure these events. It's not that we can't insure them, but our company won't cover the liability for them if we're not hosting.
Councillor Wood?
Just a follow-up to that comment. So I'm wondering, so you said if the municipality was involved in some aspect of organization or attendance, our insurance would then kick in to cover these events?
I would say if it was a municipal event, then yes, our insurance would cover, would hold the liability for the events.
So how would we do that? We would have to, I'm just exploring this, just so council understands why I'm asking this question, is because if it's $1,000 this year, it'll be $2,000 next year, it'll just keep going up for these small events, and I don't think it's fair. Like, I'm just asking how, like, we already pay a lot of money for insurance. I saw our insurance went up actually in the budget, so if we're paying more for insurance and getting less service, I just want to explore that option. So if would we have to declare them municipally significant? Would we have to have somebody sit on their committee? Like, how would we?
I don't, through you, Mayor Broad, I don't have an answer specifically to that question, Councillor Ward. But I think we're at an opportunity right now. Our renewal is coming up in the spring, where that's maybe the time we sit down or prior to that with the insurer to see what options we have. But I don't know if it's something we can get away from. I don't know if we are looking to host all these events. I don't know what that would look like from an insurance perspective. But I think it's a good question and one worth exploring.
Like to propose that we look at that in the future anyways, if we can't look
Yeah, of
at
course.
it right now, just so that perhaps we won't have to have this discussion next year and these groups can continue using that money for something, for the community rather than insurance. If that's okay.
Councillor Vito?
Yeah, just, I guess on that note, it seems like this event, well, unless they find the $1,000 elsewhere, more or less won't happen. So I'd be okay with circling back to this one and looking at funding it fully. If our number looks all right at the end of the, I guess, list here.
Okay, Iroquois Firefighters Association for fireworks for Apple Fest. Last year. Okay. Iroquois Matilda Lions Club for the community gardens.
$1,000.
1,000 last year? JW McIntosh, 10,000 last year?
Yes. I'm confused.
Yep. Councilor Mino?
Talking about that 13K that we had in reserves, if we were looking at moving that into this year's budget, I think JW Mac is somewhere that I feel is warranted. So I'd be okay with circling back to this one as well.
Yeah, so the request is significant, obviously at 23,000 to fund their transportation costs, obviously, which was a volunteered position pre-COVID. That's now a paid position. They can't get volunteers. We're experiencing the same thing at county level, where we're getting requests from all different groups that typically fall under provincial guidelines. So certainly a difficult conversation to have at this point. Councillor Wood?
Just a question, so they asked for a similar amount last year, yes? 21,000, but it was for the same purpose, right?
Yeah.
So is that going to be an ongoing request? Because then we're almost funding a position. Like, it's not really a donation, we're funding the
Right,
position.
right. And this would be why we potentially could say, or we should say, or could say, I mean, this is last year under grants that we would fund it. We would have to look elsewhere in future years. Because we're actually funding that program.
Do I remember correctly if they made the same request to the counties? Because the position is more than what they're asking for. They were asking for 50% of it from us and 50% elsewhere last year, I thought.
Yeah, and
Is that not the case?
Yeah, at the county level, we didn't approve, and then the ones we got this year that are similar, we didn't approve, we deferred. We didn't accept any of the requests.
Do they have the application in here?
Yeah, it's in-
Give the page.
yeah, one second. I just-
How about the river? No, there it is.
Okay.
Yep, 135. I'm thinking they're receiving less from the province, is where this is originating from.
Yeah, what-
It's been going on since '91.
Right.
And most of it was funded by Ontario Health and different Ontario, I guess, grant programs or whatnot. That's a tough call to make because they do really good work in the community, I guess, so it's, but I understand that they will, you're right, if we fund anything this year, they're going to need to look elsewhere to fund this paid position, I think, in years to come. Or we'll have to find, or the Ontario government may have to help out too, I don't know.
Okay, let's move on for now. We don't request, right? Waterfront Regeneration Trust. Sorry, yes,
So,
Treasury
through you, Mayor
Stewart.
Broad, I guess just so that I'm clear on what I'm recording, should I be, is this just a discussion? at
Just a
this
discussion.
point?
We're just
So
discussing.
I'm not going to record any
Sure.
amounts just yet?
We'll loop back and then do some math. Yeah, we'll do some math. Okay. Waterfront Regeneration Trust.
Can I ask a question
Yep.
about that? That's like a big corporation from Toronto that's applied. I looked at their address. They're not from here locally. Is the $500 for staff to participate, or, because it says $500 and then staff rep to coordinate info sharing and participate in meetings. What's the 500 for? Like, it's not really specified. Just don't really know. They're not to be rude, but they're not local, and I've never heard
Right.
of them before.
So we can just scratch her off.
Yeah, I just
You said it, the address isn't local, so.
want to make sure that maybe Director Jansen has an answer for that, since he's, I think he's the staff rep noted, so. We haven't worked with him in the past? Yeah, I did, okay, yeah.
Okay. We'll just eliminate.
Yeah, no, I saw that too.
Okay, okay.
Hey, it's like we tell everybody, no hurt in applying.
No, yeah, no, I know.
Okay, Harvest Fest. Okay, what they get last year?
2,500.
Thank you. Apple Fest,
2,500.
Santa Claus Parade,
I believe the number was 2,500.
okay.
Oh, sorry. They requested 0, but there was a donation, and I can't get in to get it, but it's either
Okay.
2,000 or 2,500.
It came after, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, Iroquois Lawn Bowling,
Iroquois Lawn Bowling, 500.
Can I ask a quick
Yep.
question?
Yeah,
Do we
yeah.
pay for anything else for them? We pay utilities for them right now?
So, through Mayor Rod, they have their own meter now, so this $500 is sort of the meet in the middle in that they pay their own hydro bill there.
Okay, thank you.
How much is their hydro bill?
It's about $500. I will also note that we're about to piggyback off of it. In our new campground garage that we're about to install, we're about to piggyback off and start sharing the service, so I fully support their $500 because we're about to start borrowing that electricity.
Horsburgh Tubby Weekend,
500?
500 last year.
Just insurance, that's how much it's going.
St. Lawrence Acoustic Stage,
1,000?
we had, then all the Matilda requests,
There was a total amount of 3,000 last year.
okay. Beyond 21,
5,000?
5,000, yeah.
I don't think.
Iroquois Business Group for the Christmas market, that was a new, we were in 0, right?
Right.
And then the Gallup Canal Music Society,
2,000?
2,000 last year. So a couple of these, I'd potentially discuss not funding. We kind of had a conversation briefly last night about things that were profitable, right? For the Tubby Weekend is one. The Gallup Canal, they sell tickets. It's a paid event people attend. And the Iroquois Christmas Market, that's, that's in support of the business group, which we already support of a lot, just for their businesses. So a few of those that I think we consider not supporting if we wanted to support others in a fuller fund without, adding more money to the taxes. Councilor Ward?
I think too, just a note on some of these applications, like they're asking, like, if I want to go back to Santa Claus Parade just for a second, just to briefly touch on it. So they're asking for $2,000, but their application doesn't say what it's for. I'd really love to know as a counselor, what are they using the $2,000 for? Like, it's the same for some of these, like the Christmas market, went to the event, fantastic. Not arguing about it, just what's the money for? They didn't have it last year, they need it this year. If it's just insurance, then that's fine, but it should be stated. Like, is that what I'm assuming it's all for, is insurance? I don't know. They haven't told you, they haven't told you, okay.
I kind of hear you on that, Counselor, but I'm not sure we need to get into weeds of exactly how they're spending money. They're asking for, any group is asking money to support their program or their event. I don't know. I don't think we should be debating whether it's for insurance or for chairs or for whatever. I mean, maybe a general understanding, but I just don't think that's the purpose of, us providing. We're here to support their event in general, and if we're comfortable about supporting their event and an event in general, then I don't know that we need to get into that specific on exactly how they're right to the minute. That's just my opinion.
Right, yeah, I think that it would, the more detail they would provide gives us a better opportunity to approve
Well,
Because
the
there's
event.
some applications that have those statements, like they're
And that's
saying
fair.
exactly where
That's
it's
fair.
going. It just,
Yeah, that's
if somebody asks me, right, that question, I don't know the answer to that.
but again, they can go to the events organizers and ask them how they spend that money. I think what we should be doing is really focusing, and I like what the county does, it's, here's a donation towards fairs, county fairs, this is the money that is offered through the county, and how they spend, exactly how they spend their donation, that's, we don't get into that at a county level or any other level, so I just don't see the purpose of getting into the weeds on exactly how they're gonna spend $2,000. It's to support their event. If we're gonna support it, we support it. If we don't. That's just my opinion. But I respect your opinion as well.
Okay, so we went through the list, so what do you want to fund or what don't you want to? Councillor Smith?
There was a few I was going to cut, and then my mind got changed. The one that I was thinking about cutting was the Iroquois lawn bowling, but then now hearing about what's going to be happening with it, we're going to be using some of their electricity. I guess I'm fine with going with a 500 there, the status quo. The hub for Beyond 21, I was thinking about not giving them anything because I know we gave them pretty good last year. They got a very good grant last year. So I was gonna, in my mind, I was thinking I was gonna transfer that money over to the JW McIntosh. That's kind of what I was thinking. Other than that, I'm pretty much good with what the staff recommendations, more or less, that came across. So that's kind of where I'm at.
So, okay, I'm supportive of the not funding the Beyond 21 as well for this year. We gave them significant money last year. So, with the $13,000 we're going to use from the reserves from last year's unfunded, we have some opportunities to as opposed to using some of the recommendations, we could fully fund the event or fund the event that's not listed. Because we'd be at, right now we'd be at 17.4 and we have 35,000. So we could go back and increase some, like Councillor Smith's point, we can increase WJ McIntosh, we can increase some of these to the fuller amounts. Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, sure. So I got quite a list as we're going through here, so if
Yep.
you can just bear with me.
Yeah, go
and
through it, yeah.
I respect if I could get some feedback on this
Sure.
as well. So I'm in agreement with the councillor on the Hub 21. The water
Yep.
trail, no, I think the $500 is, we should take that out. I think the Historic Society, we could fund $1,200 on that one, so that would reduce that by, fund $1,000 as recommended by staff, so
Okay.
that would reduce that by $1,200.
Got it.
Just bear with me, I was just writing some notes as I went. Lions Club. Yeah, for the Lions Club, I think we should go and give $1,500 for the Iroquois Matilda Lions Club barbecue. No, sorry. I'm confusing myself because I wrote these notes down as I was going. St. Lawrence Acoustics, I don't think we should fund.
Okay,
The To-Be Committee, I think we should be reducing that down. I think we should reduce it down to $500. Again, just because I just know that it's a great festival, it's a great weekend, but it is a profitable organization, profitable somewhat because they give money back to the community. So we're really funding donations back to the community in my mind. So I think the 2B ones could be down by a little bit. Harvest Festival, I think we could lower that down to $2,000. Christmas market, that one, I don't think that's what we should be funding. I think that's a little bit beyond just festivals and events. So I don't think we should be funding that at all. They're asking for a lot of in-kind stuff, which I fully support every in-kind request here. I did have the community garden, but we did support that last year, so I don't mind supporting that. And I hear what everybody or people are saying about the J.W. McIntosh community, but and yeah, we could get in a debate that it is a downloading of funding, but unfortunately, that's the reality. I am a big believer of that. The J.W. McIntosh, I believe maybe we don't hit the 23,000 mark, but I was comfortable with donating more than what we did last year just because we weren't donating to the Hub 21. I was comfortable donating around 15,000 for that, to be honest with you. So I'm not sure if you're recording that, Treasurer Stewart, or not, but
I got a lot of it too, so.
so I think with that, I was getting around that $35,000 mark, which was the money we had in hand plus taking the 13 or whatever out of reserves, if my math is somewhat close.
Yeah, I missed the one about it was the line,
Yeah, I had that one, and now I'm going back to check my notes again, so I apologize for that.
community gardens you're wondering?
No,
The Lions Club was Canada Day, because you skipped that one. You didn't say.
Yeah, Canada Day, what were your thoughts on?
I personally, on Canada Day, I think I'd like to fund the full, just because that's a non-profitable, and that's a big day for a lot of people in the
Yep.
community, because it's one of the biggest events around, I think, so I'd be happy going to
I
3
agree,
on that.
3,000, I agree.
Yeah. And as for the JW Mac, I support Deputy Mayor's position. That's, I attend a lot of their events as well, and I think they're a huge benefit to all of South Dundas. I think we also need to maybe help them in any way that we can to find alternative funding as well going forward.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that it should be always on the municipality, but I think we need to help where we can.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had that initial conversation at county council budget meeting about what are we going to do to advocate for other monies somewhere else, somehow, some other way.
Yeah.
Don't have an answer, but we've got to do something. We can't just sit around and next year be back in the same position.
Yeah,
Right.
I
So
think the
agree.
funding from the upper levels is continually, slowly going away, right? So
Yeah,
it's-
just, maybe I could capture some of the remarks so far. Just on the Gallup Canal, the 1,200, because we want to make sure we cover the insurance on that one. That was what? Right, Treasurer, Deputy Treasurer, I'll just go through the list, kind of, I think what we've got, and then folks can correct me. So I'll just start, so the high school, 1,500, the Historical Society, 1,000, Canada Day, 3,000, Gallup Canal, 1,200, Iroquois firefighters, 2,000, J.W. McIntosh, 15,000, Harvest Fest, 2,000, Apple Fest, 2,000, Santa Claus Parade, 2,000, Tubies, 500. and the lawn bowling for 500.
Can I ask a question about just going back to that, Mayor,
Yeah.
lawn bowling? So if we're piggybacking off their service, are we separately metering ourselves, or are we just, like, can we not just absorb that in our utility budget?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's kind of where I'm gonna eventually go, but I wanted to build the building first.
Okay.
Like at the last year, we just came in with the new lease agreement before they built their new building, during the construction of their new building. And in that agreement, like the land use agreement that we had with them, it did have them covering the utilities. But now I'm starting to piggyback off their utilities, so maybe it's time that we do a little quick amendment to that land use agreement that we just passed with them, now that we're starting to use their utilities, so.
Okay. So maybe that's less of a
It seems kind of
donation.
weird to me yet, but.
So maybe it's less of a donation and more of just it's in operating then? Yes? No?
You have to funnel it to them as a payment somehow, so I don't know if you can you do that out of your operating budget?
I think, through you, Mayor, to council, whichever way we do it, you're going to end up either putting $500 in this budget, or you're going to put $500 into the facilities budget. So at the end of the day, the exact administration way as to where that $500 lands in the budget as a whole, I think is sort of a moot point, and I'd just leave it here, and we, on the administration side, we can sort out where the best spot for it is.
The only other correction I think I did, Deputy Mayor, did you add the $1,000 in for the community gardens? I wrote that down. So I think that was missed.
Yeah, I did not say that, so.
Yeah, so just that one.
No, that was,
Do we have a total of where we're at?
Yeah, so through you, Mayor Broad, I have a total of 31,700, and I believe we increased it to bring in some reserve to total 35,000, correct? So we have $3,300 left if we wanted to increase some, or leave it for future.
I would recommend just not funding anymore, because we do have events and requests during the year, and as last year, we can keep that pot for
I'm happy with that.
unallocated money. You know, again, we'll track it, and then next year, if we don't use it, we'll just put it back in the reserves, take it out of reserves. It's just, that'd be my recommendation.
I'm fine with everything as stated.
Did I miss Apple Fest?
2,000.
2,000 Apple Fest?
And where is what line is the community garden?
It's
Closer to the top here. Iroquois Matilda's Lions Club.
Oh, there it is, it's that Lions Club. Okay, that's why, because you said Lions Club, and I was like, okay, got it, yeah, I have a total of 31,700, same, so we match.
Yeah, and that was the one that
Got
I
it.
thought about
Yeah.
removing, but then
Okay.
we supported that last year, and I don't have no problem with supporting that again.
Could we run through this
Yep,
again?
absolutely,
Just from
yeah,
top
of course,
down?
yeah, okay. So, top down, Seaway High School, 1,500.
Yep.
Historical Society, 1,000. South Dundas Canada Day, 3,000. Gallup Canal, 1,200. Iroquois Firefighters, 2,000. Iroquois Lions Club for the Community Gardens, 1,000. J.W. McIntosh, 15,000. Williamsburg Harvest Fest, 2,000. Apple Fest, 2,000. Santa Claus Parade, 2,000. Iroquois Lawn Bowling, 500. Tubies, 500. 31,700.
I like
Content.
it.
Okay, all in favor? We don't have to vote, but we're,
Nods of head.
nods of
as
head.
they say.
Straw vote? Okay, so. Using 13,000 from reserves, we're increasing the council grants to 88,000. but the increase, the 13,000 increase coming from reserves, so no change to any of the lines on our levy by department and/or the impact on the residential tax bill. Is there any other areas that we want to discuss? We've had 24 hours to think about what changes we had made last night. We had some initial savings come in that Treasury had called out from when they first printed the book. We got the Safe Start COVID reserve money that we're going to use. We delayed the front steps. We changed the plaza work by 30,000. We agreed upon a matching balance for the waterfront. And we just pushed out the movement of the bell to get us to the, 6.67 is where we're at right now, which a total impact to residents, counting counties and education of 4.83. Is there anywhere else we want to look at?
I'm content with what
You're good. Yep.
I wish it could be lower, but it's unfortunate.
Well, we do know several municipalities around us are coming in at a higher rate. So we're not out of line on trying to get work done as the costs are up, for sure. Certainly our organizational costs overall, and then supply chain costs are up. But we can feel good that we're delivering the same service that we started out with, so no change in the level of service. And, if you think about where the money, a lot of the levy money is going to be spent in roads, in parks, recreation, and things that our residents use somewhat on an everyday basis. So that's one thing we can feel proud about. Obviously, every dollar is important to every resident, right, in a different way. So our intention is never to just use taxpayers' money to do more things without being thoughtful overall. And hopefully, Treasurer Stewart mentioned last night some leveling, right? And, Deputy Mayor talked about maybe some leveling, and the work that we've done last year and this year, maybe we'll see some of that leveling out and may return a different number, but maybe on the lower side, or choose to do more work, right? That's the other thing. We have compiled many studies, and we have piles of work to get at and more things to look at. So, any other comments on the budgets?
No, I agree.
Did we go through capital? I just had that question about the transmission in the van versus replacing it, because it's still in.
Yeah, I mean, they can bring that back.
Does that get done after the fact? Or?
Yeah, but the money was coming out of reserve, so we.
So that comes, okay.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have impacted the tax rate, so.
Yeah.
Director,
We'll deal with that
we can
after.
get that information and work with.
We'll deal with that after.
Yeah, we can deal with that after.
Yep.
Yeah, what that choice would be.
Okay.
Because that would just delay expenditure of a reserve
Okay.
to the future year potentially, right?
Yeah.
And we may incur some expense on that, so but we can look at that. Manager Hyman?
So through you, Mayor Broad, to Councilor Reno, I did do some prelim work with our mechanic, and we did receive pricing for a transmission. So you're looking at roughly $6,500 installed through a local supplier in South Dundas, and it could be done as early as tomorrow. We could get it in and get it fixed if that's the route that council chooses to go. We can move forward right away with the repair and keep that asset in the fleet for X number of years outgoing from now. I can't give you a determined timeline, how long it will last, because it could blow a motor tomorrow, but it is a 2011 vehicle. It does exceed our 6 years for fleet replacement, as per our replacement schedule. So every day after today is a +1. So I just want to let you know on that that repair that you did ask me to find.
Councilor Reed?
So appreciate that, Director. Yeah, I just, would that adjust our budget otherwise, because that would be going into, I guess, your fleet maintenance budget then? Does that adjust taxation?
We'd start them off $6,500 in the hole.
In the hole?
It'd be 6,500 in the hole to start
Okay, well,
2024.
it's got 140,000 kilometers on it, so I was just like, for $6,500 versus an estimated $85,000 to replace it, we have some seriously expensive iron that we have to buy here, fire truck, snowplow, backhoe, small win, I thought. So,
I tend to agree.
That's
I
just-
tend to agree.
so anyways, thank you for digging that up. But it doesn't affect our budget, so that's fine.
Yeah. So we can talk
Only
about
his.
that another day.
Yeah, maybe at our next council meeting, we can
Yeah.
just do a brief
Okay. All right.
KR and make a decision at that point.
Your fleet schedule or anything, and like you say, I don't want to get into the weeds with the fleet schedule, but it's just nice to have that big picture as well. So
Correct.
we can
Okay.
discuss that at another date.
Thanks, Manager Hyman, for getting that info for us for tonight. Okay, unless there's anything else, any other comments by Treasury?
I have none right now.
We've met your needs so far?
So far, so good.
Okay, so I do have a motion that the Council of Municipality of South Dundas accept in principle the presented 2020 draft budget as amended. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Deputy Mayor St. Pierre. All in favor? Carried. And I have a motion that the council now adjourn to meet again at the call of the chair. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Ward. All in favor? So, thanks for our second night of budget deliberations. I thought we did good work. I thought we had great conversations, and just want to thank all the staff for all their time and effort. As noted by CEO Mills last night, thanks the whole team to get this done, and we appreciate all of that. Certainly appreciate folks in attendance, media, and we had over 100 views from last night, so maybe we'll have more than that from tonight. So until our next council meeting, which is next Wednesday,